So let's start with something that, quite honestly, is often overlooked. Many people don't speak about, and that's our energy. Our energy speaks louder many times than our words. So long before you introduce yourself, it's your energy that has already walked into the room. And the truth of the matter is, people may not always understand what you're saying, but they'll always feel how you're showing up and how you're saying things. I know when I was growing up, I remember moments where I said, things that were right. And sometimes, obviously, I said things that were not right. Yet, a lot of stuff is overlooked, underestimated, or even misunderstood. And it took me a lot of years to understand at least one of the reasons why I think that was the case. Why folks didn't understand. It wasn't necessarily my words, but it was my energy. My body language probably was unsure. My presence, dimmed by self-doubt. I was trying to manifest from a lot of times a frequency of lack and fear, and the results reflected that, meaning there were no results. That's when I learned about energy and started putting more focus on energy, because energy doesn't lie. So this episode, we are focusing on energy, manifestation, higher consciousness, self-improvement, enlightenment, all of this, the basis is energy. Because if we want to manifest better things in our lives, we have to align with that energy in order to receive it. If you want to live a higher life, then we've got to show up as higher energy. So, guys, welcome into the podcast today. That's what we're talking about on day 3, our series of 30 days to monetize and manifestation. I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast and this series so far. We're going to dig deeper today in day 3, and we're going to talk about how to really align using our own energy. You've heard many times, I know in this community lately, it's been a very strong statement and a common statement to make, which is everything is energy. And that is true. Everything does vibrate, including yourself. Everything is energy. And it is also true that if you want to calibrate yourself to a particular thing and manifest it, you've got to be on the same wavelength, saying you've got to match the energy. So welcome into the podcast today. That's what we're talking about. And my probably not a particularly long podcast today, because I think we can really get into some key points and some solutions here for you that you can begin to practice today, if you like, that can really help you. But I do want to welcome you in, and I would like to draw your attention to our show notes. Please go hang out in our show notes for at least, a few minutes. Take a look at what we have. We've got still our some of our digital products in our shop on sale, so you can take advantage of that. We're always looking for folks to want to help and support the podcast. So if you like the podcast, you want to become a member, podcast member support, there is a link. All you have to do is go to our website. And once you get to our website, you just hit shop, and you'll see on the right-hand side there's a link to become a member, along with many other things that you can do. Make sure you're also following us on Instagram. So we are posting daily on Instagram, at least 2 to 3 times a day. So there's that. And what else I got? I think that's it. So let's jump into it. What's the opportunity? If you're not aware of the energy that you're carrying, you may be unconsciously repelling the very things that you actually want to attract. So let me give you an example. I grew up, I don't know how deep I want to get into this, but let's just say I had a very traumatic childhood. One of my father was killed when I was 5. And so that kind of launched me into certain ways of behavior and distrust of people and overcompensation in relationships and fear of abandonment, you name it, all the stuff, right? All the stuff. But one of the things that I began to manifest that, actually you can look back in pictures and see it, is I always had this frown on my face for years. I mean, up into my mid to late 20s. And it's very evident because I would see it in my younger brother. And the reason I bring that up is because one of my kids said to me one day, like, "Dad, why don't you ever smile? Why don't you ever smile?" And it really hit me like a ton of bricks because here's a kid, here's a child saying obviously the truth. There's no agenda here. Dad, why don't you ever smile? And so it sent me into some reflection. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because if I'm frowning, right, like literally frowning, just unconsciously, this is my default face, then what is my default emotion or energy behind that? What was my default emotion or energy behind it? Now, during this time, I held a corporate job. I went to college. I did all sorts of things. Now, was I frowning 100% of the time? I'm sure I was not. But a lot of the time, I was. I was. So what opportunities, what people kind of bypassed me because of my energy? Thank God my wife didn't because, it could have been a situation like, I don't know. I don't know how difficult I was to deal with in my 20s, but I think many of us look back now that I'm in my 50s. I look back at the earliest stages of my life and you can see a lot of opportunity for improvement, right? But that's what life is, it's learning. So better late than never. But at this stage, I approach life very differently. And I understand that my energy supersedes really my words. It supersedes everything about me because when people are around you and they stay around you, that says something. Or when people come around you and they want to leave quickly, that also says something about you. So let's take that in consideration when we're having this discussion today about energy. What are people saying? Are people hanging around you joyfully, regrettably? Are they ready to go? These sorts of things. So, and they may not even know it themselves because a lot of people don't necessarily, they may think what we're talking about here is woo-woo and it's like a bunch of magic thinking. So don't really buy into energy or aura or chakras or anything like that, but they know they don't want to hang around with you. You know what I'm saying? Like they know they just don't want to be in the room with you. They don't know why, they just don't. So here's the thing. Missed opportunities. Missed opportunities come from misalignment. And I gave you that example because I believe that in my early life, particularly my corporate life, that there were a lot of things I was trying to manifest, things I was trying to do in terms of my career that did not take place for me. And it was because of my energy. When I was displeased, I didn't have a poker face. Most of the time you knew when I was upset. And many times maybe you assumed I was upset because of the way I looked and perhaps I wasn't totally upset, but I didn't carry myself that way. So when your internal energy doesn't match your external goals, the universe can't find a match for what you're asking for, right? When your internal energy, it doesn't match your external goals. You say you want to lose the weight, or you say you want to be in a marriage type relationship, but your energy doesn't match that. So the universe is like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I also feel what you're admitting. Here's what that looks like. You say you want abundance, but your energy is screaming scarcity and lack. How many of us have been there, are there? You say you want abundance, but your energy is screaming scarcity or lack. You visualize success, but you carry the tension of fear. You're doing that deal where people say, okay, I'm going to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Well, just don't do anything because you put the seed down and dug it up in the same statement. You visualize success, but you carry the tension of fear. And then lastly, you network, but you show up with uncertainty. Have you ever been in a group of coworkers or someone and you feel like everybody deserves to be there except for you? Well, people can tell. People can tell. Sometimes you overcompensate. You're too talky. You're so trying to prove yourself to be in a room, capable of being in a room. Other times you don't say anything, and people don't really know what you're doing. What's going on. So there's a disconnect, right? And the disconnect slows down your manifestation. It drains momentum and it keeps your goals stuck in a loop of delay. Just that thought I just gave you. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm preparing for the worst. Don't do that. Don't repeat that statement. When people say that, it makes me feel like, man, they're still in kindergarten or something. Do one or the other. Now, I prefer you hope or you trust in the best. Don't ever prepare for the worst. Why? Because you will get what you're preparing for. That's why if you have a rainy day fund, eventually you will have to use it for rainy day stuff. There's nothing wrong, obviously, with putting money to the side, saving money, but label it something else. My vacation account, my fun day account, my new car account, my new house, whatever it is. But the rainy day stuff, let the rainy days go. You have a lot of power. Maybe you don't know it, but here's the power. The moment you tune in and align, everything can change. All right. So let's talk about some solutions. The best solution, the energetic alignment practices. We're going to break them down. And I want you, as early as today, to begin to use some of these in this way to shift the way that you feel internally. Because that means, oh man, it's just, I can tell you because I've been on both sides of the fence. There are days where I feel so great. I feel so good about myself, and I do feel that confidence and security that I tell you about. And I operate differently in this external world. I've got this flow. I can tell people like to be around me. I have people, strangers just coming up, holding conversations with me in public. Because we were somewhere the other day and my wife asked me like, so where do you know him from? I said, we just met and I don't know him at all. He said, the way you guys were talking is like, you've known him a long time. And so I have that energy where people want to talk to me. People want to talk to me. I didn't always have that. And I prefer this versus the other because this is where expansion takes place. This is where you get to meet people that may be part of your timeline build, people that may be part of this new improved you, people who may have and could generate great ideas within your timeline. You never know. You never know. But if you close yourself off to it, then of course you do know that you're never going to meet that person, or that person may never come to you, may never have that conversation, right? So the energy, the alignment, it does really matter. So here's step one. Let's do this right now. Let's take about 10 seconds or so, and let's check in with yourself. What are you feeling like now? Check in with your current vibe and do this every day, okay? Not just because we're on the podcast. What are you feeling now? Ask yourself, how do I feel right now on a scale of 1 to 10? At the 1, let's say it's a frowny face, and then at 10, you're ecstatic with your hands in the air. Where are you right now? What are your thoughts fueling today? Are they fueling a vibe of energy and just a high level of optimism? Or do you this is Monday all over again. You know what I mean? This is not great. I'm not having a great day. How are you feeling? So that's step number 1. Let's be honest with where we are. Step number 2, let's move the energy. How do we do that? Well, you can use breath work. You can stretch. You can walk, which is a great meditative practice. We're going to do a podcast on the power of walking one day, but walking is such a great meditative practice. Very similar to driving, but obviously driving, you're not doing any exercise. But walking is a great meditative practice. Dancing is another one. Anything that gets your energy flowing. Have you ever heard when people are not feeling good, people will say, okay, you should go work out. You should go work out. Why they say that? Because when you're working out, you're moving that energy around. Okay. Now, my workout of choice is yoga, and I do breath work as well. And I also like to walk. So I give myself 3 options of things that I can do if I feel like my energy is stagnated. Okay. So that's step number 2. Step number 3, it's time to anchor in a new state. Choose the energy of the reality that you want to live in. It may sound simple, but you need to choose it. Is it confidence? Like me, confidence and security? Is it thankfulness and gratitude? Is it abundance? What is the energy that you want to live in? Whatever that energy is, I want you to feel it in your body. Feel it in your body and hold it for 90 seconds. How do I do that? Okay. This is where your wonderful human imagination, quoting Neville Goddard, comes in at. Create a scenario in your mind that will produce confidence or gratitude or abundance. Just create the scenario. Don't try to figure out how you're going to lose the weight or get the car or marry the girl or guy. Don't try to figure anything out. Just see yourself having the thing that you want. All right, we're going to go to the end. What does that feel like? That energy. Matter of fact, Neville Goddard is a great example of how to solve this energetic problem. Because Neville's solution was just live there. Go all the way, bypass all of the who, what, whens, and hows, and just get to the what. Just get all the way to the end, to the marriage, to the childbirth, to the advancement in your career, to the opening your new store, your entrepreneurship, to your health solution, whatever it is that's going to make you feel the way you want to feel. Go to the end. Go all the way there and just stay there. Why? Because there is the energy. There is the emotion. And whether we realize this or not, and this is the reason why podcasts like this and conversations like this and being around people like people that are in our community is helpful, is because if you just understand that one concept, this can help you out so much. Because we're doing it anyway. We're just doing it unknowingly. Let me prove it. You get a strange email from your boss, right? And it feels like you're in trouble, right? It feels like you're in trouble. Like my job could be in jeopardy. Now, he didn't say, or she didn't say that, but you feel that. And what happens? You begin to use your imagination to create scenarios about you losing your job. Now, let's say this is Friday. You get the email late Friday. You're not going to see him or her until Monday. So you spend the next 3 days imagining what this conversation is going to be like on Monday. And I got to tell you, because I've been there, it's probably not a really good imagination session, but you're conjuring up this energy, this negative energy, and you're using it to create an end result. You're living in the end, whether you know it or not. It's just a negative end. And it's not something that you want. Now, what if you take that same power that you have, that same imagination that you use to create these negative scenarios, and you create positive ones instead? So is it just as simple as that? Yes, it is. The difficult part is consistency. So there's two difficult parts if you ask me. Number one, understanding that this is how creation happens. The thought generates an emotion, and that emotion is what aligns you on a frequency scale up or down. That's why it's important to really check in on what type of music you're listening to. Music is extremely, it's all vibration. And if your body's in the frequency of that music, you're going to feel a certain way. You got to know that when you go to concerts, when you go to parties, when you go to people's houses and they're playing certain music, you feel certain ways. That's why. Because it's emitting a vibration and it is attuning you to that vibration. Sometimes you will, listen, do you ever thought why movies have soundtracks? Have you ever considered why movies have soundtracks? They have soundtracks because they're trying to create a mood in a certain scene. What is a mood? It's your emotion. And that music creates emotion in you. How does it do that? It vibrates and it makes you vibrate and match it. So if someone's on their deathbed and their loved one is just, you know, in agony and they want them to stay and not go, and then all of a sudden this soundtrack comes on and it's just this sad song, you're down there with them now. You're matching the energy of that character on the screen. Haven't you cried at a movie? Haven't you seen people leave movies or in movies crying? They didn't come in crying. What happened? Their frequency changed, their energy changed. So anyway, enough with all the examples. Here's what you got to do. Anchor yourself in that state. Go to the end, like Neville said. Figure it out what it is that you want to do. Feel that emotion, feel it, and hold it for at least 90 seconds. Here's what you don't want to do. Here's what's going to happen, but here's what you don't want to do. Don't try and figure out, because our minds are that way. It's going to try and figure out. You want the emotion of riding around in that new car, right? Immediately as you see yourself driving off the lot in that car, your mind's going to say, well, how would we do this? I can't afford the car. Or I don't think this is the right time to buy a car. We need to do this and we need to do that. Don't fool with the how. Just feel the emotion of driving the car. That's your only assignment. Feel the emotion of being in your end result and hold it for 90 seconds. That's step number 3. Step number 4, align your actions. Take one small action today. Take one small action from this new energy, from holding 90 seconds. Take an action from it. You can post the video, you can send the email, you can speak with power, but do something in that energy. How does that work? Let's first of all see ourselves as a very successful podcast host, okay? So you've got hundreds of thousands, millions of listeners, okay? That's number 1. What does that feel like? I'm not asking myself, how do I get 1 million listeners? That's not my job. The universe is going to put that together. But it feels great because I feel like I can impact people. I feel like my voice means something. I feel like I'm helping people, and that feels great. I feel like I'm living in my passion. Okay, right now, in that energy, take an action. Post another video. Send an email. Reach out to an agent. Speak with power. Do another podcast. Do it in that energy. And this is how creation happens. And then step 5 is our nightly reflection. Before you go to bed, reflect. We should be doing this anyway. How did I do today? How did I show up today? Did I lead with fear or alignment? Revisit significant parts of your day. Do you feel good about how you represented yourself today? Did you stay in that energy as much as you could? Did you do this practice? Did you feel aligned to what it is that you're called to do? Okay. All right. So here's the deal. 5 practices for energy alignment. Number 1, you want to do a morning check-in. How am I feeling today? This is just a revision of what we just talked about. How am I feeling today? You want to start off every morning asking yourself, how am I feeling today? Now, you don't have to just ask yourself that in the morning. Ask yourself that when you go to lunch. Ask yourself that when you're sitting at your desk or you're in the car or wherever. Am I doing okay? It's kind of like reminding yourself, okay, let my shoulders down. I'm tense again. Release my shoulders. How am I doing today? Ask yourself every day. Number 2, whatever practice you're going to do to get the energy moving. In this case, it could be a power pose plus breath work. Hold a confident stance and take 3 deep breaths. Very simple. Hold a confident stance and take 3 deep breaths before you walk into the office, before you walk into the house, before you get in the car, get out of the car. Take a positive stance, a positive pose, and take 3 deep breaths and recenter yourself. Let's do also next a midday reset. Play a 3-minute high vibe song. What's your favorite song? Not favorite love song or sad song, but what's your favorite high energy song that kind of gets the energy up for you? Something that you would play if you were doing a cardio workout or you were riding your bike, okay? Put it on your mobile device. Don't act like you don't have it, or just put it on a playlist on YouTube and play it. Play it. Listen to the thing that makes you feel, F-E-E-L, feel good each day. Listen to it and move your body. And then next, energy intention. Set an intention right after this. Say, I choose to lead with clarity and power. I choose to lead with clarity and power. And then lastly, at night, we're going to reflect. How did I do today? Where did I shine today? Look for those parts of your day where you were highly successful. Remember, you do have a reticular activating system. It's going to work really hard for you to show you the things that you truly believe. So look for the things that you want to be, the things that you want to do well. All right. So your energy is your first impression. It is your silent handshake. Think of it that way. It's your invitation to the life that you want, your energy. All right. So in today's episode, we explore how to realign ourselves and some daily practices to help support us in getting to that vision that we say we want. So when your energy and your intention match up, now the universe is saying, all right, I got you. I'm clear on what it is you want. And now it's time to move on your behalf. Okay. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you learned a lot today. Don't forget to go into the show notes and check out our website. And also, if you haven't downloaded the free workbook that we have on our Google sheets, then do that, because you can use that as a journal piece to help you as we matriculate through these 30 days. All right, guys. Thank you. See you tomorrow.